Arsenal Fan Circle. And today I want to talk about a very, very serious topic to start off the show with, and then we will finish the show out with questions and answers. Reaching out to Sunny TV and Sunny TV filtered, unfiltered. So Sunny TV unfiltered. Been talking to him, and he's going to do something quite unique within the confines of the Arsenal group, the Arsenal world. And Sonny is going to have a podcast on Sunday at 3 o'clock. So really hoping all of my viewers can go over and watch Sunny TV Unfiltered at 3 o'clock on Sunday. It will be actually 3 o'clock. It will be just after the Arsenal game. So please check that out. And he's going to be talking about suicide prevention and mental health. And that ties in today with today's actually Suicide Prevention Day. Now, it's a very, very serious topic. I know a club legend, Tony Adams, has been at the forefront of this and has championed this cause for quite a while now. And it's quite astonishing when you dig into it. Every day, 84 people commit suicide for reasons unknown to regular people. Um, so it's a very, very private issue, and very often people don't want to talk about it. But there is some signs and um, there is some signs that you can see. Um, there is some signs that you can see. I'm sorry. Bear with me here for a second. So the signs of suicide risk to watch out for are changes in mood and behavior. For example, if someone is part of a group or activity and you notice that they stop showing up and they stop engaging, someone is usually pretty even tempered, and you can see they're easily frustrated or angry. So these are signs of somebody who has suicidal tendencies. And I'm by no means, I want to say, I'm by no means an expert in this area, but I do want to help raise awareness for what Sonny's trying to do over in his channel as well. So please go check him out on Sunday. And want to say also, suicide is something that is not, um, it doesn't respect class, it doesn't respect wealth, it doesn't respect a lot of things that society respects. So it can be the richest person right down to the poorest person, and these people can all have suicidal thoughts and tendencies and things that they're hiding and keeping away from loved ones. So uh, let's all look out for the signs here and pay attention to people's words as well. They may want to talk about seeing no purpose or wanting to go on or wanting to go to sleep and never wake up. So these are all things that if you notice and you spot the signs, engage with that person, talk with them, and tell them that in time things can get better and things can look brighter moving forward. So those are the things that you can do. But like I said, I'm by no means an expert on this area, but please, please do go over and check out Sunny TV Unfiltered. He is doing a podcast on Sunday, and I will leave the link in the video on this video down below. But it is a wordy, wordy cause, and it's something that Sunny is trying to do. We all, again, it doesn't respect the team that you follow. It can be all kinds of supporters of football. It can be, everybody in society is affected by this, and it's something that we need to draw attention to, and hopefully um, shine the light on it, and people will become more and more open to talking about it. People who suffer with it can feel more open to talking about it as well, and So it's always very important to reach out, and if you suspect somebody is feeling suicidal, to ask them if they're okay, and do it in a very unassuming manner, but a friendly manner, and come to them and ask that question, are you feeling okay? And by doing that, by asking them if they feel okay, they may feel comforted by what you're trying to do and may feel like they will actually open up to you and engage with you and talk with you about what is happening with them, and they can actually seek help as well. So, first thing is to really be a friend to that person and to engage with them, help them understand that things can get better, like I say. A little bit nervous, so hopefully I'm not repeating myself right now, but these are all things that you can say. Um, Now, the other thing, there's more points here. I'm reading from a website. So most people are afraid to ask about suicide because they think, don't want to put the thought in their head, but there's no research to support that. So the next point is be direct and ask about suicide. So you can very often bring the point up, and by doing that, they're saying here that you're not um, preempting anything, that you're actually engaging with the person, and they will feel probably more open to talking about it as well. Um, so the fourth point is assess risk and don't panic. Suicidal feelings aren't always an emergency. So, say a loved one confides in you that they have been thinking about suicide. What do you do then? Don't let yourself panic. That's what this website is saying. And you can take all of this, what I'm saying, under advisement. But I'm just trying to raise awareness and trying to help Sunny as well. Um, Research shows that most people who had suicidal thoughts haven't had the kind of overpowering thoughts that might push them to make an attempt. In other words, many more people experience suicidal thoughts than take action on them. So that's very important as well. But if you suspect that someone is feeling that way, the best way that you can help them is to become their friend, and they will feel comfortable about talking about it with you. Um, Number five, if it's a crisis, stick around. So what if you assess the risk and you fear your loved one is in immediate crisis? First, request them to hold off for a day or so, at the same time being validating and gentle. So the kind of intense emotions that might make someone act on an impulse usually resolve or become manageable in less than 24 hours or 48 hours. It seems like a long period of time, but if you can engage with that person or help them get through that period until they're feeling more hopeful about things, that can definitely help the situation. Again, I want to stress I'm not a professional in this field, and I just want to raise awareness today by using the platform that I have here on the podcast. So number six is listen and offer hope. So if the person is not an immediate risk, it is still important to listen to them. The biggest thing is listening in an open-minded way, to not be judgmental. So very often, the art of conversation is to listen 80% of the time and actually talk 20% of the time. So that could be possibly a very good um, thing to take into this type of situation. Don't tell a person what to do. They're looking to be heard and have their feelings acknowledged. So listen more than talk. And number seven is help your loved one make a safety plan. So when a person is not at immediate risk of attempting suicide, it is a good time to think about preventing a future crisis. That's where we want to make help seeking and adaptive coping strategies a practice. And then finally, there's two more parts to this. help them tackle the mental health care system. So when someone is in urgent crisis mode, it's often not the best time to try to navigate the mental health care system, but to prevent a future crisis. Offer to help your loved one connect with a mental health professional. So you can be part of the process and help them seek professional advice, people who will help them as well. And so number nine and last is to explore tools and support online. So obviously, following up with that, you help them to explore the tools and support online that can actually help them deal with suicide prevention. But I'm very leery about going into this in too much depth because, like I said, I'm not an expert in this, but I do want to raise awareness and want to do my part because today it is Suicide Prevention Day. And we can't stand by and see things happen as human beings. We're all human beings and we want to help each other, lift each other up and grow. And that's what I want to do here. And what I want to do is sort of raise awareness as well for what Sunny is trying to do over there on his channel. So once again, Sunny TV Unfiltered, and check him out on Sunday. He's going to have a very, very good podcast, a little bit different, and it's a weighty issue, but a very, very worthy issue. And I want to help Sunny get the word out there and for everybody to see that. But with all of that being said, now we've had an international break, and us Arsenal fans, are looking forward to coming back to play Watford on Sunday. So, want to get straight into. I wanted to do a question and answer section. So, this is something I'm going to try to do. Maybe involve my co-host Mahir Abrams from South Africa, who right now is sleeping soundly. But yeah, I want to try and get involved and answer questions on a regular basis every week. So I'm going to take the first question, and I'm going to give subscribers and non-subscribers, anyone that leaves questions for me, both on YouTube and on Twitter, I'm going to give them a shout out. So this question is from Deepak Patel over on Twitter. So Deepak asks, what do we do with Ainsley Maitland-Niles when Bellerin is back? Will Emery even play him in midfield ahead of who we have? I feel, Deepak, that our established midfield will be the likes of Xhaka, dare I say it, Torreira, Ceballos, Willock, and Ozil. So I think it's going to be very, very hard for Ainsley Maitland-Niles to come back, and he will continue probably to deputise for Bellerin when Bellerin comes back. Now, will Emery even play him in midfield ahead of who we have? We have to see Emery play Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and I believe that he will play Ainsley Maitland-Niles. But it will be in Europa League competition or possibly the Carabao Cup or laterally even in the FA Cup. But I do think Ainsley Maitland-Niles has a future for the rest of the season at least. I know that I've just contradicted myself, but I think he will get games. There's enough games for the whole squad to play for the rest of the season. I think Emery will play him in midfield because he does want to see what he's got there, and we have to try Ainsley Maitland-Niles in midfield as well because ostensibly he is a midfielder and not a right back. Now we have a question from my friend over there on Cannon Fodder TV. It is Alex from Cannon Fodder TV. So let's see what Alex has to say. Um, so 7 points out of 12. Disappointed, or could we have done better? And will the Vultures hover over Unai Emery if Unai Emery does not win the next few games? Undoubtedly, the Vultures will hover over Unai Emery if we do not win the next few games. And I'm really, really, myself personally, looking ahead in the schedule a little bit, and I will be a little bit critical if we don't do very well at Old Trafford. That will be toward the end of this month, and it will be after the Watford game away from home, and it will be after a home game with Aston Villa. So those are the three league games we have coming up for the remainder of this month. Watford away from home, Aston Villa at home. But the big one I'm looking at is that Monday night game with Manchester United. We have to break through that barrier of beating a top six team because that's what they are right now. They're a top six team, Manchester United. Probably at the end of the season, they may not be a top six team, but right now they're a top six team. And I would like for Unai Emery to go to Old Trafford and win a game versus the top six away from home, and that's something we need to do. Am I disappointed with 7 points out of 12? Yes, I'm definitely disappointed, and that is only through the North London derby where we should really have picked up an extra 2 points. Um, we're going to go through this during the weekend with Mahir Gunded News, my co-host, but we're going to show how we lost 2 points versus the old enemy Tottenham, the scum, the spuds, um, pretty much through bad marking at the back and harebrained defending from Granit Xhaka. So yes, I am disappointed with 7 points out of 12. And yes, we could have done better. I was actually hoping for 9 points out of 12, Alex, so far. So next, I have a question from Andrew from Dial Square over on Twitter. Uh, Andrew's question is: on a scale of 1 to 10, how gutted are you that we could not move Mustafi and Xhaka on? And I know he did add on. Will I be happy to see them in the under 23s? I think he said that jokingly. Um, yes, I'm a little bit disappointed. Um, I do see the relevance, and I'm going to get slated for this, of keeping Xhaka, but I don't want him in the team. I think he's a good squad player. I think he's too prone to making mistakes, but he is an experienced midfield player, and we don't have a lot of experienced midfield players. Now, obviously, I'm very good at that we could not move Mustafi on. Um, so on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 3 out of 10. I'm very much gutted that we couldn't move Mustafi on in particular. But I don't see Mustafi's getting a lot of games this season. Now we have a question from Noe Donis, one of our subscribers from the early days. And Noe has asked this question. Do you think Unai Emery knows what he's doing? In my opinion, most of his tactics are questionable. Why choose Xhaka over Ceballos? So definitely, the choosing Xhaka over Ceballos was something that Mahir and I highlighted. And if anyone who was watching on playback or whoever who was watching live, um, go back to that pre-game show that we did before the Tottenham game. Mahir and I questioned the midfield composition of Xhaka, Torreira, and Guendouzi, and especially Xhaka, Granit Xhaka. Um, we see that this player is not suited to the English Premier League. He's not up to the pace, and he's not able to live in the white hot heat of a North London derby, and he did something very very rash with Tottenham players who are very very likely to dive, as we all know. Son and Kane are really really good at diving, and Kane is starting to get exposed for doing that. Now, the other part of your question, now he is, do you think Unai Emery knows what he is doing? Now, I can say I'm not quite sure about Unai Emery and his tactics. I think that he changes things too much. I think he wants to be the smartest person in the room. He gets a little bit over tactical in some instances, and how he saw that midfield for the North London derby that was going to work, I don't know. Because if you're playing three players like Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang up front, and you're not going to help supply them through the fullbacks, especially because we had Kolasinac coming in for Monreal, who had left Real Sociedad, and we had Ainsley Maitland-Niles. They were never going to give the forwards the supply that we needed, and there was no creativity coming from that midfield of Xhaka and Torreira. And there is a question later that I will expand on as well. But definitely, I don't think he knows what he's doing right now. I think some of his tactics are questionable, but I do think that his tactics were pretty spot on for the Liverpool game. If we had taken some of those chances, it could have been a different result. I know Liverpool are European champions for a reason. So I have another question here from Stephen Denham. He is another one of our subscribers and very, very loyal subscriber at that. So I appreciate and love all of our subscribers. And please, in future weeks, send in your questions and we will answer them here in this slot. So Stephen's question is, who would you play in your midfield? Would you play Ozil in your team to provide service to the front three? Also, what formation should we use going forward? So, for the players that we have, and especially the midfielders, because let's just say the forwards pick themselves and the defenders will pick themselves when they're available. Right now, we don't have a settled defenders. Hopefully, Bellerin and Tierney will come into the team pretty soon. But for midfield, we don't have a settled formation. And I think we need to suit the formation to the players we have. Now, if you're playing a 4-3-3, I think Granit Xhaka in particular and Torreira are kind of lost in that situation. Torreira is a pure destroyer, pure. He should sit in front of that back four and shield everything coming through. And to play Xhaka in that position was scandalous. And so I think to answer your question, the formation going forward should be a 4-2-3-1. Now imagine we have Tierney and Bellerin in the team. We can use our two defensive midfielders, which would probably be Xhaka or Willock or Guendouzi, and play them alongside Torreira. And they could cover for our fullbacks when they get forward. So imagine Bellerin and Tierney getting forward to supply, because fullbacks is the way football is going these days. Um, they can bomb forward, and Torreira and Xhaka can provide cover. Now in 4-2-3-1, the Salveas or Ozil can be in that number 10 position, and they can provide the creativity as well. So I think it suits most of our team and most of our players. The only one that possibly would not suit would be Aubameyang, who in this system would have to play on the left hand side. And hi Noe, I am very happy that you came to join me for this podcast. So who would I play in my midfield, Stephen? I would play definitely Torreira to sit in front of the back four. I would play Guendouzi right there as the ball playing midfielder. So you have a destroyer, you have a ball playing midfielder, and then you need a player who can carry the ball. And for me, that would be Ceballos. So for me, a composition in midfield is you need a destroyer, somebody like Torreira who's going to break up play. You need a ball playing midfielder like Guendouzi, and you need a ball carrying midfielder. Somebody like Wilshire in the past that we had, or so that would be a Ceballos or Ozil. So that would be the makeup of my team. But definitely, I'm impressed with Willock moving forward. Definitely Ozil, since we have him now, and that's leading up to another question from Pistol. So I'll be getting to that soon. But just wanted to say hello to Noe. Thanks for coming in, Noe. And thanks for providing me with a question last week. which I just answered. I hope you caught that question. So I have another question here from all the way from Australia, Peter, otherwise known as Pistol, and thanks for supplying the question, Peter. So it's more of a statement from Peter or Pistol. So we bought Ozil for a reason. It's about time we use that investment instead of wasting it. Certainly, if you're paying a lot of money, Peter, then you should probably try to use that investment. He's not getting any younger, and if we don't use him, then sell him or loan him out. I am baffled by this. Um, Principally, Unai Emery does not fancy Mesut Ozil. I think it's as simple as that. I think everybody can see that he doesn't fancy him. But like I said before, there's many games in the season, and I do believe that Ozil will have an opportunity to play. And but also, I could possibly see something happening with Ozil moving on in the January window. I think that could really happen. Um, so that's to answer your question. I see, Pistol, that you are the uh, in the comments section as well. So I'm glad that you have joined us. So we have Australia and we have the West Coast of America joining us. And this is the reason why I want to sometimes do podcasts in the evening time, that I can reach my loyal subscribers from Australia and from regions that are not able to see the podcast on Sunday. With time zones, it's difficult. And Pistol has a further question. So I'm glad Xhaka got a month off. Hopefully it'll be hard for him to come back into the side when he returns. And not quite sure if he is getting the month off, but I think it's important as a father to experience this life changing thing that's going to happen to you when you have a child and it comes into your life. So, we wish him all the best. I definitely feel like it could also be an opportunity for Unai Emery to see what he can use in midfield. I'm a little bit disappointed that he didn't use Willock more and more in this season so far. He's just played a couple of games, so I'm still to be convinced about Unai Emery and the youth players if he's going to use them. I think to his detriment, I think Unai Emery is a bit of a cautious coach and not too willing to use the youth players. I hope Freddie Lundberg can convince him otherwise with that situation. But I've seen a couple of instances now where he's um, not willing to try Willock. Another player who I think could be a very good player for Arsenal is Callum Chambers, but I don't really know if Emery fancies him either. Time will tell. But right now, with Callum Chambers being fit, we have David Luiz and we have Socrates as the two central defenders. And that ties into your next question, Pistol. Um, do you think they will go for Upamecano in the January transfer window? I do think we will be back in for Upamecano, and I have another name that a lot of people will not want to hear, but I feel we will go back for Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace. I think there's definite interest in Wilfred Zaha, and I think we will definitely go back in for him. And I think it will help us a lot to have a ball carrying left sided player. Now, Tierney could take all of that space on the left hand side as well, because Tierney seems to be a very athletic player who can move up and down the wing. But I also think Wilfred Zaha could be uh, maybe a surprise target in January. Also possible, like I said, that Ozil could move on in January as well, as his opportunities will be limited. So, thanks for coming in. I want to always try to do this in the evening. I do appreciate Noe coming in and Pistol also. If you have one or two other comments, I will answer them. But if you don't have anything, I will just wrap up the show here. And very, very thankful that for all of my subscribers, anyone who's watching on playback. And I started out the show with Suicide Prevention Day. So I want to let everyone know to please go check out Sunny TV Unfiltered. Yes, it is Sunny from AFTV. He's doing his own thing. He's close to 1,000 subscribers. Check him out on Sunday. He's going to have a mental health and suicide prevention podcast on Sunday. I would probably be checking him out as well. And we will, of course, here on Arsenal Fan Circle, be having our own podcast after Arsenal. Join us for the pre-game podcast as well. Mahir and I will be doing that. I thought it was we did a very, very good show last time when Tottenham came to us, and we did highlight the worries that we had about Granit Xhaka, Torreira being played out of position in the three, and Guendouzi, who I thought definitely benefited from having Ceballos come on, but also he's a hell of a player and really, really happy he got a call up for the French team. He's definitely one for the future, and I'm glad that we have him on our books. Well, like I said, go check out Sunny TV Unfiltered. Thanks for coming in and watching, Pistol and Noe. Um, really do appreciate all of your support and your love. I'm doing this because I'm a fan, like AFTV say, by the fans for the fans, and this is something that I'm doing as a fan, reaching out to fans all over the world, and it's just wonderful to make contact with people all over the world. So, hypothetical question from Pistol Peter. It is from Australia. If you could have back to Arsenal, who would it be? So anybody, or yeah, I think you're saying anybody. If you could have back to Arsenal, who would it be? I would love Dennis Bergkamp, the Iceman. I think he could thrive in this Arsenal team. He'll be the creativity that we need. Could you imagine Dennis Bergkamp playing with Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe? That would be magic. I mean, yes, I would have the temptation of saying Henry for sure. So yes, anybody. And the Iceman, that is somebody that I would really, really like to have back in Arsenal in his heyday. The thing about Dennis Bergkamp was he saw things before any other player, and I especially loved the way Frederick Blomberg would run off and Perez would run off, and Bergkamp would be able to find them in the channels. I could imagine Aubameyang and Pepe. Yes, even if he wouldn't, as he doesn't fly anymore, I'd still love to have him back. The Iceman, still probably one of the best players to ever play for Arsenal, along with Thierry Henry. They're different kinds of players, but we were blessed to have both of them in our team. Um, and like Claude sometimes says, it's hard to go back to beans on toast when you had filet mignon every night. And for many, many years there, 15, 16 years ago, we had filet mignon, and it was every week. We knew we were going to go out and win games, and in some ways, that's our base now. Our fan base is very, very reactionary because we've had that kind of success. We've had great, great teams come through, and it's about time that we had great teams come through again. I hope that we can be excited by Josh Kroenke because Silence Dan is no more. Josh Kroenke is the head of the club, and we want to be excited again in January. And I feel like what happened with our transfer window and things that happened so well. Raul needs to get a knighthood or something for everything he did. I mean, if you're nitpicking, the only thing he couldn't do was move on Mustafi. or move on other players who are on high wages and a player that the coach probably doesn't like to use too much at this point in time. But I think we're going to be aggressive in January. I hope we are. We are missing some pieces, definitely in midfield, because that's something that Unai Emery needs to fix, the midfield conundrum. But we'll see how it goes. Um, I don't. I'm hesitant to say let's wait and see when our fullbacks come back, but in reality, we probably have to wait and see how this team is going to be when Tierney settles in and Bellerin comes back and starts making cutbacks on the right wing for our strikers. One other thing I wanted to mention, which is a little bit disconcerting, we have conceded 6 goals in 4 games, and we are on pace for conceding 57 goals if you extrapolate that out through a whole season. So that's definitely not great and something that we need to tighten up on. Obviously, we're not going to play Liverpool. We're not going to face Liverpool, and we're not going to face Tottenham every week. But we do need to start paring down the goals that we concede. And the other scary thing is that out of the 6 goals that we've scored, 5 of them have come from Lacazette and Aubameyang, and we need to share that load. We need our players, other players, to score. I have no doubt that Pepe will start scoring soon, but let's not forget that Thierry Henry and the great Dennis Bergkamp took over half a dozen games or close to 10 games before they actually got off the mark and scored themselves. So, you know, good players are good players. And Pepe will hit the mark pretty soon. Um, Probably the Aston Villa game, maybe the Watford game, but I would love to see it coming soon. We need to spread the goals around. The only other goal was scored by Torreira at Anfield. So one last question from Peter: does Arsenal have to pay some of the money for Mkhitaryan, or are Roma paying it all? I understand Roma are paying all of the wages for the loan fee. I could be wrong, but that is my understanding, Peter. So listen, I want to thank you for coming in. Um, you inspired me, Peter, in particular, to start doing these podcasts in the evening, to try to give some content to my friends down under and all people in that time zone. You know, like Sunny TV Unfiltered said, there's a lot of airwaves going on in England, in the evening hours, but there's not a lot going on for this time zone here or down under. So I'm going to try and keep doing this and keep things moving. I hope you're enjoying the content. Come and join me through the week. Watch the videos through the week. Like I said, we are going to have a pre-game podcast. Uh, we center it around the announcement of the team. So an hour before kickoff, we'll be having a podcast, and we will be talking about the team that Unai Emery picks. And let's hope it's a good team. I'm a little bit worried about Watford because they've actually um, fired their coach, and I hate when teams fire their coach just before we're about to play them. So it's really disconcerting for me. Wait and you see Watford will pop up and play the game of their lives and give us a really, really hard game. So, Peter, I'm really, really happy you were able to join me. Noe joined in as well. And let's grow this thing. But let's also think about the watchword of the day is really suicide prevention day. Today is suicide prevention day. We need to think about these things. I've outlined a few things at the beginning of this podcast. If you want to go back and have a look at it, but basically, I'm not an expert in the area, but want to raise awareness to it. It's one of those things that is has no class. It doesn't respect class. Doesn't respect your standing in the world. everybody's equal in my eyes, and suicide prevention is something that affects all of us. Oh yeah, Pistol, you would like Tony Adams back in defense. Yeah, yes. Hopefully we can go out in the January sales, like I say, January sales, and go out and buy it ourselves, an up in Meccano or something like that. Wouldn't we like that? But yes, Peter, keep coming to visit me every week. We will do this evening podcast, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate everybody's questions and comments and concerns, and I will definitely keep this thing moving and keep this thing going every week. Join us for the podcast as well. We're going to have a pre-game and post-game podcast on Sunday. And until then, hope everybody stays healthy and happy. And yeah, watch over our loved ones and, you know, be good to each other. Until then, take care.